What do you call my girlfriend? I'm going she's really hot, she's really hot, she's really hot, she's really hot. Damn! She's really hot, she's really hot, she's really hot. Damn!
Coming soon to this theater.
It was an age of violence. The world was held captive by an army of barbarians. Only one man, together with his friends, dared oppose them.
I'm here to kill you.
Get out! In the wasteland, only the strong survived. Warriors of the Wasteland, starring Fred Williamson, rated R.
Now playing at a flagship theater near you.
Kill it! I have already killed you. Right here.
Two men.
Yeah!
Nothing's gonna get to me.
Two machines. Two wild.
It's clobbering time.
Get ready for Robot Jocks, rated PG.
Get ready for Robot Jocks and Warriors of the Wasteland next week on the Drive-In Asylum double feature, when our special guest will be NP Armageddon.
So that's going to be pretty exciting. And that was Robot Jocks was originally intended to be a Transformers movie, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they realized we don't have the budget to make Transformers, but we can have two robots, and we can make a little movie out of it. So it's going to be fun.
This is the perfect summary of Scared to Death. I think it just hits all the bases.
Yeah. How did everybody enjoy it? I'm excited to see what people thought of it.
Every time I watch this, it just gets better and better to me.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, because I think this movie has a certain like low budget style that really turns me on, and the way that they do the stalking scenes are very much like slashers, which I really dig. It's not a slasher, but is it? I don't know. No.
It's also, well, there are some elements that remind me of slashers, right? There's the idea that we're finding that it keeps like a cave of victims, and that's pretty cool. And then also, obviously, the roller girl scene is definitely a slasher scene.
I love that part. See, I told you it had something to do with Xanadu.
Yeah, it definitely does. So
there is these movies take place in the same universe. I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah. So this is right down the street from Xanadu. Xanadu. That's what this movie's called.
Dan said there's still some time left on his, but somebody said they're backed up. Yeah, Dan. So I shouldn't say that the ending of the movie is like the Terminator. It's like James Cameron saw this.
Oh yeah, I would assume he did. So,
but
it
was
good.
But it was stylish, and it came first.
Yeah, it's certainly it's got some really cool stuff in it. I would like to see. I guess this is probably as good as they can get the print for it, which is fine. But I think this movie needs to be appreciated a little better than it is. It's a pretty decent little film. And even if the new second girlfriend, is she a second girlfriend or the second girl in it, is wearing, Bill said, the outfit from Contamination.
She took her wardrobe cues from Stella in Contamination.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're gonna go into the sewers where there's lots of grates and like water dripping down walls and there's slime everywhere, you want to make sure you're wearing a dress. Do not wear slacks.
Wear a denim dress.
Yeah, some kind of skirt. There has to be a skirt.
It's more freeing when you're in the water to just have, especially sewer water, to have bare legs.
Yeah, the more that you have exposed when you go into the sewer, the better, apparently.
Yeah, and nobody was like, this smells. Everybody's like, it's fine. We're in the sewer.
Well, in her defense, she didn't know she was going to be going on this adventure when she got dressed that day.
Yeah, and you should never really plan. You can never really plan that when you're going to go into a sewer adventure. Ask April O'Neil and the Ninja Turtles. They know what's up. I saw a thing in the comments I wanted to answer. Dustin asked, did David Allen do the effects for RoboChucks? Yeah. It's a Empire, the last Empire movie. And if you have the Empire box set, it's on there. But the print one, previous for next week. I like the hands of the Syngenor, Bill. They look very, they could almost be Jawa weapons the way they look. Like the knives on the end of it, I kind of dig that.
They also could have been sold as a playset, an alien playset.
Yeah, I would love if they made a figure of him. As a kid, I would have absolutely loved it. He is kind of like the dress-up playset for kids. Like my first alien outfit or a Halloween outfit. He's like one of those. Remember when they used to just get the plastic mask and then like the vinyl shirt, and then it would say "alien" on it. You're like,
oh yeah, like, it was just a tunic, really.
Yeah, and then it would just say the name of whatever it was. So you'd have like a Planet of the Apes mask, and then just a giant logo that said Planet of the Apes on the top of you.
That really disappointed me. Hey, I was just reminded of that last night. We were watching The Incredible Shrinking Woman with our granddaughter, who's 6 years old, and she loved it. She was really into it. And there's that one part where, oh, sorry, I think I spilled something. Anyway, in The Incredible Shrinking Woman, what were we saying?
About the costume, the Halloween costume.
Her kids are really obnoxious, and they're wearing costumes throughout the whole thing. And the kid has like a Dracula Halloween costume on, and it's just a matching mask. It doesn't even really look like Dracula anyway. But I was really disappointed by that. I think I had that same costume, and I was like, Dracula wouldn't have his name written on his shirt.
Yeah, also, like, they were super vinyl-y. Like, when you took them out of the thing, they just had that stink of vinyl.
The stink of the vinyl, Clary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did your father make Halloween costumes?
He sure did. My dad was super into it. I was Godzilla one year, and he made a whole, like, paper-mache Godzilla head for me that I could barely see at it. And then I was a Papa Smurf one year. What a costume I wanted. That was a costume he made. He's like, you're going to be Papa Smurf this year. And I was like, okay.
That's pretty amazing.
Dad, I want to be the Syngenor this year.
Would he have indulged you?
He probably would have. He'd be like, we'll make you the forked tongue. I like the part where Syngenor kisses the girl and blood starts pouring out of her mouth.
His girlfriend.
Yeah. The only thing is they didn't... the blood in a couple scenes I've remarked to Bill looked like they put almost too much corn syrup into the mix. And the blood seemed like almost like plasticky. It was pretty wild.
It was super clear. Yeah, your blood is like see-through red.
I like the Italian neon blood. That's my favorite blood. Like where it's almost like paint. Or like the Dawn of the Dead blood. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
It's like Dayglow paint, yeah.
Yeah.
Which apparently pissed Savini off. because he didn't like the way it looked on camera. Like after
We'll
they did
agree.
it, but George liked it, so they kept it.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
Well, that's what he said.
I know. I like it.
I'm digging through this for my blue curacao.
Oh, okay. But yeah, there's some fun kills in this. There's some roller skating that lasts a while. I don't think that actress was that good of a roller skater. I think that she lied on her audition and said, "Yes, I know how to roller skate." Of course. And it looks like she's going to fall almost at any minute. She's
Your
going down.
camera, your microphone's really low again.
Oh my god! Wait a second here. How's that? Is that better?
I don't know. I guess a little bit.
That's really weird. I didn't adjust anything.
And then suddenly the volume got really low when you were saying that.
Oh, is that better now?
I think so. Anyway, continue,
Yes.
please.
I was saying like the roller skating needed a little bit of work. She was almost falling a couple times as she was coming down on the roller skating.
I want to know what their plan was. Like when you get to the bottom of the parking garage, then what?
That's why they had that VW bug down there. They'd start up the bug and take it back to the top.
Because you're on roller skates, so like, what are you gonna do? Skate up?
Yeah, at least
That's
that's
not
what I
gonna be
think
fun.
their plan was. Did they have a crappy industrial elevator ready for them?
Was I right about the disco boobs?
Mm-hmm. I like that guy called her to go to the film festival. And she's like, if I change my mind, I'll come out. She's
Yeah.
not leaving.
Way to be non-committal. Like first she was like really dismissive of the whole idea.
Yeah,
Then she decides to lead him on.
girls can be mean.
Lead
I like
me on, tease me all night long.
Eldon said the second sewer worker didn't report seeing the creature. He also had a Skylab helmet on. I guess you can wear whatever you want to wear when you're a Los Angeles sewer worker in 1979, 1980.
This is a good question, Eldon, and I think that print that's on Tubi is edited. Because the Syngenor, if you notice at the end of the scene, his ankle is still right by the sewer. And the lid blows off the sewer, and the Syngenor grabs his ankle and pulls him down into the sewer as well. Why they would cut that out, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
wait.
I have the mic working now. Is that better?
Yeah, something just changed.
Yeah, I just fixed it, so I think that's working. Sorry, guys.
Right on.
We'll keep this brightly lit microphone though on camera, so you can see that I actually am using a microphone now.
Is it a stunt mic?
I don't know. Yeah, it's not really hooked up to anything.
Is it it's like a Thompson Twins keyboard mic.
Yeah,
Nothing's
exactly.
plugged in.
Nothing's plugged in. It's like whenever you see a wall of Marshall amps when a band plays and they just have like a one behind it and they're just cardboard printouts of amps. You're like, oh, you guys really don't have that backline like you claim you do.
It's like when Motley Crue went out with that fake bass guitar, man.
And my favorite is whenever you see guys like singers on stage with the when singers plug in their guitars and like they're playing like they're not plugged in. They're just strumming along. They're not really doing anything.
Oh, come on, it's rock and roll.
Everybody was amped up this week because I guess Madonna plays a Pantera song live. She plays like a couple riffs from it because it was an easy song for her to learn. When she plays, I can't remember what song. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I just think it's funny when guitars come on like that. This mic is hooked up though, so that's okay.
Oh yeah, I was just teasing about that. It is plugged in. Honest.
Yes. Yeah.
That really is Sam you're listening to.
It is. It's not. I'm not just a CGI creation.
It's not AI.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen to Ted's first girlfriend? Did he ruin her car and then she became a vegetable? Like, will anyone ever check on her?
He won't, because she was alone when she woke up in the hospital.
Yeah.
In that very Friday the 13th Dress to Kill type ending.
Yeah.
Which again,
what if
I think was before those movies. maybe.
What do you think if she comes back to Ted's place and he's already in bed with that other girl?
Well, the way she just kind of like hooked up with him, she might
Mhm.
not be too upset about it, and she'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah, I like that she was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make you some steaks. You don't know how to dress. I'm not gonna take you to Century City. And then like there she puts on an 8-track, next thing you know, he's like palming her face. He
What
just
was she thinking?
he's not I guess in the 70s, maybe this is how we got to here. This is a movie filled with ready? Pretty get deep. This is a movie filled with bad guys. The Syngenor would not survive the Me Too era. He doesn't understand consent. He wants to put his tongue in your mouth, but he doesn't ask. And I think Ted and the Syngenor are both horrible guys, just different sides of the coin. So that's what I think. I think she had a great apartment. I agree with Steve. I think she moved too fast. I think she had been hurt before, and she's like, you know, this guy's really cocky and kind of shitty, but he did give me $2,000 in the name of a guy to get parts from. Like he kind of paid away his problem there, and he doesn't really seem like he didn't care about being a cop, and he doesn't want to do his duty of being a cop. And now he's a writer, and he's just written the same book 5 times, and he's lazy about it. Like, and he's the hero of this movie. He's the guy who's supposed to be behind.
It's really fucked up.
Yeah,
I love that
he's
Vince
kind of
knows that Joe's keyboard was never plugged in. I
yes.
knew you would know that. Yeah, this guy was he was one of those heroes that you could not totally get behind because he just seemed like an asshole.
Yeah, like throughout he's an asshole. And like you're like, dude, like I don't know. Like even like his supposed or we're to assume that other cop, the African American cop is his best friend, right? Or
Right.
and he's kind of shitty to him too.
Mm-hmm. He sticks his neck out for him and gets him involved in this
Yeah.
investigation. And, it was a little self-serving, but also it was to help him get back on the horse and like maybe mend some fences with his old boss. And he just totally blows it. It was disrespectful.
But is he rich or not? He has $2,000 to just drop on a girl, right? But
Wait, when did he
also
drop $2,000?
he just gave her $2,000 for the car because it was only 1,500 to fix the part. She didn't even give him a what do you call it?
Okay, the car accident.
Yeah. Like she said, well, it's $1,500. And I'd be like, well, could I have a receipt for my insurance? And he's just like, no, fuck it. Here's $2,000. Like she
Yeah.
didn't get 3 estimates. Like you don't have to get 3 estimates in the world of Syngenor. I mean, let's not bring,
It wouldn't fly on Judge Judy.
it wouldn't. But you know what? Her eye makeup was ridiculous too. She had like total, like you said, total disco blue makeup. Like it was like
Super disco.
it was like plasmatics makeup almost. It was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't, but I'm being
Seriously.
really judgy about her. She also poured him like an entire bottle of wine. So when somebody does that to you, you're like, oh, this
She's
is
like,
how
if
this
you can
date's
take
going.
it, I can.
Yeah, this is how this date's going.
She's
You're
partying
staying.
with him. I
Yeah,
respect her. No, it didn't matter that she moved fast, per se. It was just that, she seemed to she jumped all in with this guy. Because then she was
yeah,
like helping him with this investigation. She's filing things for him. I'd be
yeah.
like, I don't know about this.
And that's like, how many? Sorry, I don't mean to give relationship advice to the female love interest in Syngenor, but let's do it.
Of
Like,
course.
you're coming to this guy's house. He has shit everywhere. Is it like a detective office? Is he supposed to be like a, like a, like a kind of like a Raymond Chandler kind of character? But he's not
Definitely.
because those characters have like heroic ideals and are like kind of cool.
He was definitely a hoarder.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're gonna do a show with him post Syngenor. He's like, well, I started hoarding when one of my girlfriends was put into a coma, and I just never really got over it. We watched like a week of Hoarders last week, and it's upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Oh, I can't take it.
it's it because you know what? When those people start complaining, and all those people have come out to help them, and they're like, oh, I have to save this scrap of paper that someone touched. I'm like, get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here. It's
And
so
like
wrong.
rats have been shitting and pissing all over it for 30 years, and you're like, it's still okay.
Not a single one of those people are fighting over their vinegar syndrome slip covers, right? They're like, well, this
That's
is
different.
it's different. I have 8 copies of Scared to Death, okay? And they're all different.
It's totally not different. That's what made me go through all of my movies, my music. I just really pared down when we moved to this house, and
Yeah.
there's still so much more to go.
Yeah.
Every time I watch that show, it gives me anxiety. I'm like, don't let that be you, Bill. Are you being that?
There was one where this guy had a whole house full of books, and the books were like in towers, and they kept falling on him.
Oh, and his
And it
wife
just,
broke her arm.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh,
Is
they
that the
added
one?
another. Yeah, they added another season on Netflix, and I was like, I can't tell Becca because that'll be all we watch for a week, and of course, that's what happened.
Did you see the one where Ron Jeremy was on it?
No, really?
Yes. There is an episode of Hoarders. He's not the subject, but he's a friend of the subject.
Uh,
She's like this spaced out woman that lived in an apartment in LA, I guess. And there was her condo apartment was just jam packed with shit. And she was getting evicted because she wasn't paying anything to live there anymore or something. I don't really remember, but Ron Jeremy came over as a friend and was like the voice of reason, if you can imagine Ron Jeremy being your voice of reason.
he's in jail now, though.
I know.
Yeah. God. Yeah, but he was wow. That's who's. There's an episode of Hoarders where there's a wrestling manager on it, and it just was like, oh, this is everything I hate in one thing.
What kind of shit was he saving?
He was just like, it was one of those people that are like food hoarders, where their kitchen is, the kitchen is just horrifying.
Oh, that's horrible. And then they fight with you over rotten food.
Yeah, there was this one though that this guy, all his neighbors were trying to help him, and they were all younger, and he was like in his 70s, and like he had buckets all over his property where he collected rainwater, and like he would like wash his arms occasionally, and then he was like fighting them over all this stuff, and I was like, oh, this is just it's just too much. Like I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, it's
Is
really.
this? I mean, the Syngenor is a hoarder. Look at his layer of bodies. Those people are like, you just eat one body at a time, and when you're done with it, you get another one, Syngenor, and he doesn't. You know.
I've known several hoarders in my lifetime, and that's why that show fascinates me, because I'm like, see, I tried to say these same things to these people that I knew. I'm like, this stuff is no good and it's filthy and it just needs to go into a dumpster, and then you'll have your house back and you can fix it up. And well, no. So I watch it sort of like as a warning to myself too. Don't ever do that.
As someone that has a whole room full of GI Joes and another one full of movies, like I understand, but it's like I try to keep some order in it and normalcy. But it's like,
how do you feel about letting go of that stuff, Sam?
I wouldn't be able to let go because it's a collection that I built.
It's anxious. It makes you feel anxious. See, it's you.
But you know what though? I got rid of my comics, and that wasn't a hard thing to do. Like I've gotten rid of other stuff before.
Yeah. I swore that I would never get rid of certain records. Like there were collections that I just was never going to let go of. I'm like, nope, I'll never sell it. I'll never sell it. Then I sold one piece, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to sell the rest of this shit because I don't need this shit, and it's worth a lot of money.
So, the GI Joe one's different because my brother and I've spent like 15 years, 20 years building this collection together. So
yeah,
it has like a lot of I don't even know the right, like emotion behind it, and
I know I'm so into it. I love it. I love looking at your GI Joe room.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. I go in there sometimes and I'm like, oh, it's overwhelming at times. I'm going to be more excited. I'm more excited when the aircraft carrier is finally built. It's going to be a lot better. So that's my next. I mean, like,
I'd be concerned if I went over and all that shit was in a big pile, and you were like stressing over, like, oh my god, I'm gonna fix this up one day. And no, you have it all like organized.
Yeah,
you care.
It needs a little bit of work, but it's getting there. But the movies are very organized, as you've seen.
Oh yes, down to the letter.
Yeah. Oh, and there's video lists for it and everything. It's ridiculous. Anywho, I'm glad we watched this. I think this would be a solid drive-in double feature. Could see both of these together, and it definitely works. It's
I
kind
think
of
so too. Yeah.
yeah, it's like science and nature gone wrong together in two movies, and I think that's pretty rad.
Both monster movies.
Both monster movies, both effects heavy, not gory, but some creepy scenes.
I love the effects in Scared to Death. I think it's very ambitious. And that creature, I mean, it's all about the creature. If you don't have a good monster in a movie like this, then it's not going to be good. Like, see Blood Beach. You know, Blood Beach would be like much better regarded if there was like this kick-ass monster that came up at the end. And instead, like, you know, I'm not going to rag on Blood Beach. I've already said too much about it.
I think if they had a little better there's a couple really nice shots, like the shot of the girl getting killed in the car with the blood on the windows is good.
Yeah.
But there's like a couple, if they had like steady cam and they had maybe like a dolly, you know, there's a couple scenes where you can see that they went a little more handheld. I think it's kind of bouncy. But other than that, like I think it really works. So
that's what makes it look slasherish to me, though.
Yeah.
The bouncy camera work, like, you know, the killer point of view shots that are always typically associated with slasher movies, but really it's any movie where there's something stalking somebody.
I'd like some stalking where you saw the Syngenor's hands like a Giallo killer. That would be pretty rad.
Like Helena Marcus's claws.
Yeah, exactly. I would like that.
Well, if that's even supposed to be her. I still don't understand that in Suspiria. Like, what is that thing with the hairy arms that kills people?
I've learned to not even question any bit of that movie, where I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Whatever happens. I'm very forgiving of it. Whereas other movies, I'm like, oh, pick it apart. That movie, I'm just like, yeah, that's what he wanted. Like, it's fine.
It's not literally Helena Marcus because we see her later and she has claws, but she doesn't have those hairy arms.
I think she's some kind of shape-shifting elemental force. I don't know.
Yeah. So it is her.
It's some aspect of her. Yeah. She's able to like shapeshift and turn into things.
I'm going to send out a revenant against you. What do you get to now, huh?
I'm going to send you through some stained glass, huh? What your friend going to watch, huh?
So last time you're going to abuse us on our pizza hotline. Calling up and ordering a pizza for someone that didn't want it, huh?
She should do another commercial, I think.
Revenge of Helena Marcus.
Yeah. New toppings.
Well, I think she was offended that Susie didn't want to try her Greek pizza.
Exactly.
Because Helena Marcus is Greek, so she was like, once in a while, you could order my Greek pizza. You know, make me feel a little bit better.
It comes with wine, huh? It always comes. You get a free bottle of wine with every carafe of wine with each order.
She's like, I bust my ass to make this menu as diverse as possible, and I'm offering you different pizza varieties. But here you come, American girl.
Yeah.
To this little town off the Black Forest, and you think you're going to order American pizza here. Well, I'll make it for you, but once in a while you could try my shit too, okay?
Yeah. She's like, she was like, you know, I know you want New York style pizza, but you're in fucking Germany or wherever you are, in an Italian movie in Germany.
Do you think Helena Marcus had ever been to New York? Like, can she teleport to the other house?
Yes, I do think so.
Maybe that's where she goes whenever she's supposed to not be in town. Remember?
She's like, you know what I like about that other house? There's just a room filled with water. Just out of the blue. I love that about that other house.
I'm going down to the water room.
Hey, there's a guy running across the water. Let's kill him.
I'm going to go to the library and borrow a book. I'm gonna borrow a book from Elena Marcus, huh? When you can bring it back, huh?
My favorite part of Inferno is whenever he's trying to pay attention in class and they just cut back to her petting that cat and the wind comes in. And I'm like, I totally get why this guy just lost his fucking mind. Like, I completely understand. It
That's what
totally
it was
makes sense.
like for him. He just saw
Yeah,
her and was like, whoosh.
I've been there. It's like, whoosh.
Of course. He was speaking
There's
your
some
language.
Suspiria questions in the chat. This is why we do this show. Question number one, Bill. What do you
Oh.
guys think of the Suspiria remake?
It was okay. I watched it once. I'd be happy never seeing it again. I really don't care about it.
I like the end of it, but I feel like it leans in, like, to me, what works about the original is the nonsensical weirdness of it, the colors, the joy of it all, and it's bereft of all the things that I love about the original. So it's like if it was its own movie, I'd be fine with it. So, you know, why is there a room full of barbed wire, Beth asked? That's a great question.
Oh yeah. That's the question of the hour for anyone that's seen Suspiria. Why was that room there?
That actress is really crawling around in it too, which is they took the barbs off, but she's still getting stuck. It's still sticking in. It's
I'm sure it wasn't fun.
as someone that has been stuck in barbed wire without the barbs before, it still sucks.
Yeah.
I have scars all over my arms from doing it in Japan, and it's not fun, especially when you don't think you're going to get stuck. But yeah,
And she's really giving it her all too. She's like throwing herself around in it and screaming at the top of her lungs.
yeah.
But why it was there, who knows? Why was there a big crate full of rotten food in the attic? Like if you ordered food, why would you store it in the attic?
My favorite, and I think I've mentioned before, my favorite thing about Dario is when he will just baffle you with shit about his movies that only he knows. Like when he's like, "Oh yeah, Tenebrae was a post-nuclear war movie." You're like, "Really?"
Yeah.
And like Phenomena is in a world
Okay.
where the Nazis won World War II. Only you're the only person that knows that, Dario. Just go with it. It's awesome.
It's also a universe that was literally created by Cthulhu.
Uh, he should do that for Dark Glasses. That's what he should have said. A movie that starts where a prostitute forgets that there's a eclipse and blinds herself and is blind for the rest of the movie.
And the Big Bang was really Cthulhu sneezing or something.
Oh man, I would love it. I like that we somehow last week ended up talking about Dracula 3D. And I was like, and everybody in the room was just like, "Oh boy, yeah,
Why not
that's."
talk about Dracula 3D?
I still haven't watched it yet. I haven't put myself through it.
I
And
don't even remember much about it other than like
and I've watched Jalo. And that movie is a slog to get through.
how do you feel about Phantom of the Opera?
I haven't seen that one either. The only two I haven't seen are Dracula and Phantom of the Opera.
Oh. Yeah, Phantom of the Opera was where I jumped right off the train. I was like, this is horrible. I just didn't get it. And it of course features the late Julian Sands, R.I.P., whose remains were recently identified after being missing in the wilderness for so long. That's like terrifying to me. But anyway, I don't know. It was just really dull, and I wasn't into it at all. I just did not follow his story in it.
I think the thing that I have realized is that he was never a great storyteller, but did really cool stuff with cameras. And then once that went away, it's like, oh yeah, when he starts doing straight movies, it's like they're not really that good. I like Dark Glasses way more than anything he's made since the Card Player, which I for some reason love. And
I remember liking the Card Player. I mean, I only saw it once.
it
I
looks
didn't
like
think
a TV movie. That's the only thing. It's like,
yeah, it did, but
it looks like an episode of Law and Order with a couple cool shots.
yes. But so what? I thought I still thought it was good. It was interesting. I thought Sleepless was great, like until about halfway through.
The train scene's great. And you're like, oh, Dario's fucking back. And then he's like, and he's done.
There wasn't much else in that movie that was memorable.
Yeah. But Stendhal syndrome's interesting. There's cool stuff in that.
I like that one. The pills going down her throat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in it, and like it's a neat idea for a movie. I mean, it's fine. Uh the Card Player was supposed to be the sequel to it, and then his daughter couldn't do it, and such is life. But oh well. Um I kind of get wrapped up in it sometimes, thinking about his films and where did it go wrong, but did it ever go? I mean, you can't expect someone, how many people their entire career delivered hit after hit after hit. It's almost impossible.
I don't know. And plus, like, after a while, they can't really give you that same feeling that you had before you really were that familiar with their work.
Yeah.
You know, after a while, it's been overanalyzed and talked. We as horror fans tend to do that. We go over it over and over again, and then we kind of build them up into maybe things that they didn't want to be.
Yeah. I've kind of, over the last couple weeks of thinking about stuff, I've more turned the corner on Romero, where I kind of like more of his stuff than I dislike now that I've thought about it. As I've kind of like critically looked back at some
You've
of his stuff,
reevaluated George Romero.
Yeah. Up until still, there's some like Bruiser and a couple other ones where I'm like, I can't defend this movie at all. Like, I don't like it.
Funny you should mention that.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a few other ones that I don't like. But oh well. Anywho,
I do
next
like
week,
George's stuff. I think George has a great visual style, even though I think it comes from him just being sort of deadpan.
yeah,
I think that's what he does best. Like, he's deadpanish with his camera and his cinematography, but it's still artful, the things that he manages to pull off, and that's not easy. Even like, the stuff that you could call dull, like Bruiser, and it's still got that Romero feel to it. That's what I like about his movies. They're not always great.
yeah. Lee said, "What's my favorite Jalo?" Oh man,
This
Strange
is a
Vice,
tough question. Oh my
Strange
God.
Vice of Mrs. Ward is what I always say. That's my number one, and then probably Deep Red, maybe, or Tenebrae. Tenebrae above Deep Red.
I thought you were
Right?
going to say Tenebrae.
Tenebrae, yeah. Tenebrae is pretty great. I always consider Deep Red and Tenebrae like an alpha and omega of what works within. You know what I mean? Because like Deep Red is like the best like of the detective style ones, and Tenebrae is like, where can you go after it? Like it kind of destroys it. And then I really have a weakness, as Bill knows, for 80s junk, mid 80s stuff. Like Too Beautiful to Die is really good, which we watched, and Nothing Underneath, and Obsession, A Taste for Fear is really good too. But yeah, I'm more on the Sergio Martino train of Giallo. I like all the stuff that he did, quite a bit. So, and I like weird ones like Play Motel, and I like Strip Nude for Your Killer because it's pretty sleazy. And I like what do you call it? What Have You Done with Solange? A lot.
What have you done to Solange? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Oh, you mean Come Teach Me?
I mean, what was the other one? The Rah Rah Girls. That's what I mean.
Oh, the Rah Rah Girls. I thought you
Mhm.
meant Terror in the Woods.
Yeah. Hey, oh, that's another thing, Bill. At the end of the month, Diane from Jalo of the Month Club is going to be hosting, and
Yes.
we're working out what she is going to pick, and she gave us a list of stuff she likes, so we're working through what her film is going to be.
We still haven't gotten her to commit on a title, but as soon as
Yeah,
we do, you'll know about it.
yeah,
Like at the end of next week's show.
yeah. We'll be talking to her this week, and it's always a negotiation with folks where it's like, we have to be like, but she has some pretty good picks. She's already picked what my next one on her show is. She told me this is what we're doing, so which I think
Oh,
is funny.
fabulous.
Yeah. So if you know me, you can kind of guess which it is. But
Well, Too Beautiful to Die was the last one, so are we
yeah,
supposed to know? Is it Nothing Underneath?
It was going to be Nothing Underneath, but it's another 80s one that I mentioned. So
Oh, I guess I shouldn't ask you to name it.
I'm
Because
not
it's
allowed
still...
to say what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But it'll be coming up this year at some point.
Right
The
on.
next couple months. Yeah. Oh, and I agree with Mike. Black Belly of the Tarantula is good. Also, how could I forget like stuff like all the Carol Baker ones too? Those are all
Orgasmo.
Orgasmo's great. I love that movie. I love everything that she did in Italy. I like that Mike said Black Belly of the Tarantula is a comfort one for him because that's one of the dark, like the meanest ones. Like the kills in that are so just mean spirited and brutal.
Mike Justice. You're a
I
meanie
al-
weenie.
I also would like to give a shout out to everybody watching right now because somehow we have 15 people watching at 2:30 in the morning, which is pretty awesome.
We have 20 people watching.
Oh my god! Well, I
There
can
are
only see that.
5 lurkers on YouTube. Oh, it just went up at 1.
Oh man, look at that! Thanks, guys. That is awesome.
Yeah, we're
Because
glad you want
otherwise,
to stay up with us.
Bill and I would just be up texting each other about movies. Otherwise, that's what would be
Yeah,
happening.
you're our
Yeah.
crutch to lean
Yeah.
on in these trying times. I
Yeah,
have this ad up on the screen for Horror of the Zombies and Night of the Howling Beast.
love it. Oh,
This was 1979 in Brewer, Maine, which is right across the river from Bangor, Maine.
wow. Those are late for those movies, huh?
Oh, 7:30 and 9:15, I guess.
No, I mean like they came out way before that, like
Oh,
chronologically.
yeah, this was 1979, and they were recycling these movies from the early 70s, which had just happened recently. I think I showed it on the last program. The ad for When the Screaming Stops,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually The Loreley's Grasp, another Armando D'Assorio film. Here's a second one, Horror of the Zombies, which is The Ghost Galleon, the third in the Blind Dead trilogy.
You know
A
what's funny is
quadrilogy.
I've been researching the movies that played Chiller Theater, Bill, and some of them played under some wild names. Like there's a couple that played names that only played on like Chiller Theater and a few other shows. So like I've been like when they show up on the site, I'm like, what is that movie? And then trying to
Marta.
find it. Marta, yeah. Marta did play it, which super excited that it played it.
Oh, John can't get us on Facebook again. Wonder what's up with that.
Huh.
It's so strange. Some people say that they can't
Huh.
find us, but other people are here. I mean, we have all these folks in the chat. So
Look for us on Threads.
yeah.
Threads. I'm not getting on a social platform name for a British apocalyptic movie.
I know, so creepy.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Bad choice.
Yeah.
Night of the Howling Beast is AKA Werewolf and the Yeti.
Yes.
Paul Nashi for the win. This was a Spanish horror double feature.
Sometimes I think whenever I'm down about work and stuff that somehow in one weekend we saw all those Spanish horror movies at the drive-in, and what an amazing night that was watching all those.
I know. That was one of the best Monsteramas, I think.
Oh, I loved every bit of it. I wore the shirt the other day and I was like, man, what a time that was. Oh, wow.
Unequivocally the most terrifying movie I've ever seen, says After Dark magazine.
I thought maybe Steve King said that.
Steve King? You mean U of M graduate Steve
U
King?
of M graduate Steve King says.
How do you feel about this movie?
I don't have any strong feelings one way or the other on it. How do you feel about it?
The same. I mean, some people really dig this movie. I don't know. I thought it was kind of boring, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like the parts that didn't have anything to do with Carol Kane.
Yeah.
But
I like Carol Kane a lot, so it's hard for me to dislike her. But yeah.
But I know this is near and dear to so many people's hearts, and it is kind of like that for me too. Like this was an important film, in my horror history because this was a big deal.
Yeah.
Carol Kane from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Did you know her, Vince? I'm curious. And this was also another Babysitters in Trouble movie, which was a genre I totally respected in 1979.
Yeah. That's very much your jam.
So here's something just for you, Sam.
Well, this is a great double feature. I was laughing about Eyeball the other day. I think you and I were talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, let's not stop the tour. Even though multiple vacationers have been killed, let's just keep the tour bus going.
Yeah. WTF.
And then Suspiria with it. That's a good night.
This was from 79 also.
Yeah.
But I think Eyeball actually didn't play until 78. So
Yeah.
this was probably the second time that Eyeball had played in the States. Although I think it is the first time it played in Brewer or Bangor.
I think Eyeball has one of the best posters. Especially for and the name coming out here is Eyeball. It's not Eyeball in Italy, obviously.
It will grab you.
Yeah. And it just has like a really great look. Sorry, I bumped my camera there. Let me look up. I can't remember what it's called in Italy. Because it came out in 75, all the way back.
Yeah. It was several years earlier before it came out in the States.
Yeah, it is man. Gatto Rossi in un labirinto de ventro. Red Cats in a Glass Maze is the Italian title. That's a pretty fucking great title. Eyeball's a good title too. But
I like Eyeball. Of course, as a kid, I was like, what is that movie about? It was like The Children.
yeah.
I was like, what movie could Eyeball be about? Like, is it like The Crawling Eye?
Yeah.
Remember The Crawling Eye? That was a big movie for me.
Love that one too, yeah.
Talk
But
about
I love it. Eyeball will grab you. Suspiria
Mhm.
won't let you go. That's a good. We're doing both.
Well, look at the time frame. They're showing Suspiria first
Yeah.
because obviously you may not live to see the end of Eyeball, so they have to make sure
Yeah.
that they get the entire program in, or they may have to refund somebody.
Yeah. That's
But-
weird. Then so Suspiria is not going to let you go, and Eyeball's still grabbing you, even though Suspiria has its arms on you.
They're like, I'd like to pay attention to Eyeball, but Suspiria won't let me go.
Yeah, it just won't let me go.
Here's an amusing bit of nonsense for the
Yeah.
Orono Theater in Bangor, Maine. They had a really cool repertory series, at least during this period in 79. And I don't know if you can read the ad copy there.
Yeah.
But it says George Romero, who this year gave us the grand sequel, Dawn of the Dead, achieved all-time cult status with his terrifying and funny little masterpiece of horror as a town of normal folk are transformed into zombies. To many, this is far superior to the sequel in its simple, finger-licking sense of fun and lack of gore.
What movie did they see?
Yeah.
Where are the funny parts in Night of the Living Dead?
Well, it is kind of campy. I'll give them that. There's a campy quality because of the acting maybe is not, professional, and some of the people are a little over the top, but I don't know, a finger licking sense of fun.
I mean, maybe they got a different print of it at the Orono
with no gore in it. That was what
Maybe.
made Night so cutting edge. Was it?
Yeah.
It did feature gore and some really, if not totally explicit gore, like some really gruesome scenarios.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm refilling my drink.
Oh.
While I pretend to fume about this cruel assessment of Night of the Living Dead.
I'd like to know who the kid is that wrote this, so I could send him an angry Facebook message and get put in Facebook group.
Please do not attack whoever wrote this a million years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we're done.
Oh,
Yeah, shit.
I can show you what came in the mail this week.
Okay, yeah, why don't you?
Let's do that.
I think that's a good idea, yeah.
Only 2 movies, but 2 fun ones. Real excited about it. We got Magic Cop from 88 Films. It's
Magic Cop.
the same guys as Mr. Vampire, if you've seen any of the Mr. Vampire movies. So looks like a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of those. And this is one I'm super excited about. Subspecies 5, finally out from Full Moon. A full movie, a new movie. Subspecies 5. Haven't even opened it yet. Beck and I are going to watch this tomorrow night. Super jazzed. So that's what came in the mail this week. I am finishing the South Korean Film Festival this week. I watched some really cool stuff in it, including the new Severin doc, Enter the Clones of Bruce, which, Bill, you're going to love. It's really good. There's one whole section where they literally keep flip animating the posters and changing the headlines of the posters and showing all the different titles for the movies and how they changed. And there's a ton of 42nd Street travelogue kind of footage of all the things. And Terry Levine from Aquarius Releasing is in it, and he's hilarious in it. He's like, we definitely knew that we weren't winning any awards for our movies, and I really don't care what's on the screen. He goes, did anybody ask for their money back? No. He's like, so that's what you're gonna get. What you're gonna get. I was like, oh, man, it's really, really good. So there's some really fun stuff in it, and it's exciting. And Tracy, that's the first Severin Blu-ray I ever bought was Dr. Butcher.
Oh, I have that one too. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
they really put a lot of effort into presenting the entire picture for a movie that was, just sort of like remixed, which is one of my favorite things in the world, is when someone buys a movie and adds shit to it and mixes it around a little bit, like Jerry Warren.
Yeah, all of his remixes are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This week on the site too, Bill, I'll fill you in what's on the site. Continuing the CBS late night movie. So I'll give you a couple movies that are ones in here that you may enjoy. You ready?
Yes.
Go Ask Alice will be up on the site tomorrow. And Asylum. The Spell. Horror at 37,000 Feet. The Creeping Flesh. The Victim. The Night of the Lepus. The Screaming Woman. Scream Pretty Peggy. Bat People on Saturday. Norless Tapes. And we're starting every episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker will be up over the next 3 weeks. So I rewatched every episode of Kolchak.
That was my first experience of Kolchak the Night Stalker. It was in 1979. They reran the whole series on the CBS late movie.
They did it in 79, 81, and 86 to 87. They ran them. And I can definitely tell you the 79 ones. I completely remember watching them with my dad. I watched the 74 series too, because when I was 2, there is a picture my parents have. They bought me a straw hat and a plastic Fisher Price camera, and I would walk around as Kolchak, and I was trying to find different monsters in my
Why did he have that stupid camera? That's my biggest question. It's like, okay, like for some of the scenes, he has an actual camera, like a 35 millimeter camera. Sometimes it's a fucking Instamatic.
It's a 16 camera. I have the name of it written down in one of the reviews. Yeah, but if he didn't have that one Alien, remember the one I was talking about before that ate the thing, like the wine of the camera was saved him. That episode 2 really hints at some X-Files-y kind of stuff where one of the cops says to him, he's like, if you don't back off this, there's people way worse than me that will deal with you. And it's like, it kind of gets into that conspiratorial kind of stuff, which is really cool. So, I love that series. So even though I know the series is nowhere near, the 2 movies are unstoppable. Like the 2 movies are great. The other thing I love is like every time a monster shows up, it just throws people. Like that's like the whole idea of the show.
There's stuff on the series that is just as good as either of the 2 TV movies, including the Horror in the Heights episode It's
Mhm.
really good. The Ripper, which was the first episode,
Yep.
I don't know if they were really shot in that order or not, but the Ripper was fantastic. The Vampire, obviously, it's a sequel to the first Kolchak film.
The Ripper was directed by the same guy that did the film noir movie Blast of Silence, which is one of the weirdest noirs ever. It's almost like a horror movie.
I'll have a tongue sandwich, side of fries, macaroni salad, root beer float, 2 scoops, and a piece of pecan pie.
I'm excited doing the CBS late movies. I'm really trying to find stuff I would never ordinarily watch, like the Glass Bottom Boat with Doris Day and Speedway with Elvis, which I fucking love because Nancy Sinatra's in it. And it is true. The Eddie Murphy jokes are true. Elvis really doesn't do any dialogue in those movies. Like there's one scene in Speedway where they ask him about his taxes and he just starts singing a song about Uncle Sam. And I'm like, wait, but everybody else is talking. Like you're the only person singing. It's pretty great. That movie's wild too because it's about Elvis is a guy who gives away everything and like is really generous and his manager screws him out of all his money because the gambling debts, which is pretty much Elvis's real life.
Wow.
Like did somebody like write this movie based on Elvis's life? So yeah, it's pretty wild.
That damn Colonel.
Uh, but yeah, third or fourth episode of Kolchak I watched, David Chase wrote it, who created the Sopranos. That was one of his first series. Was working on Kolchak. So there's some actually really interesting people that were part of it, and I always liked the motorcycle episode too with like, the undead
It's
like,
so
motorcycle.
good. Oh, that's one
Yeah,
of the best ones, I think, even though the special effects really are not that great. But
yeah,
the other one that's really scary is the one with the knight,
yeah.
the apparition of the knight that comes in and like kills people, because there's that opening murder where the guy keeps like screaming for his bodyguard who's dead in the next room.
There, the other thing I didn't realize that there were 4 episodes that were turned into split into movies, and those weren't in the CBS syndication package, so they weren't allowed to show those 4.
But they were episodes that are on the box set. They were just split into a TV movie.
Yeah, but CBS wasn't allowed to show them as part of the late movie because
Oh,
they were
oh,
those didn't go back into the syndication package until Sci-Fi showed it in the '90s, and then when the box sets on video came out, they were put into the box sets. But those 4 weren't shown, so I never knew that before. So I'm excited. It's been fun going back through this, and then I only have a question for this is a good question, folks to ask here. I am almost done with Night Gallery season 3. So usually on Fridays I do a TV show. So if anyone has any suggestions, I already did season 1 of Tales from the Dark Side, and I did all of Ghost Story, the Sebastian Cabot series, which I love, and I wish that was on DVD, and it's so expensive now to get. So kind of if anyone else has any other TV shows, let me know. Dark Room is the one with James Coburn, right?
yeah,
Alden.
it was. I definitely remember it.
I've never watched it. I kind of want to get into it. I was debating doing Monsters season 1, but I know that some of those aren't that great. Um, maybe Outer Limits, but if anyone has any horror TV that I should do, either that or I guess I could always do Werewolf, even though I can't pronounce it properly.
Darkroom had a couple of great episodes, like one where a lady she died and her cat was like terrorizing this guy in a house, and it ran under the bed and he was trying to kill the cat and he looked under, the lady was under there and she hissed at him
Oh man,
with stuff like that. There was one where there was a great one where a girl thought her neighbor was a vampire and she like tracked him down, and like at the end of the episode he's like, "Oh, I'm not a vampire," and he turns around and he's a werewolf.
that's an old EC Comics trick.
Yeah.
Is there's that one story where the family of vampires is trying to fatten up the kid, and at the end he turns into a werewolf and kills them. That's one of my favorite. Like that EC redid that so many times. They like once that worked the first time, they're like, we're gonna keep doing that.
It's like a monster rally.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of horror anthologies like that. I was debating. I know that the new Twilight Zone is on, and then Freddy's Nightmares is on Tubi too. So I was thinking about maybe one of those, but I don't want to get like bored halfway through the
Did you
season.
ever do Tales of the Unexpected?
No, I didn't do that yet.
Oh wow, that was a great one.
What was that one on?
I think I watched it on Channel 43. It's like a
Mm,
BBC export. I mean, it
mm.
was a BBC show too, but they exported that to syndication in the States. Roald Dahl's Tales of the Unexpected. John Houseman introduced it.
I did all of cliffhangers already, or I would
Stunning show.
have
Stunning.
to do that.
I talked about
Oh,
it every week with the crossing guard on my walk to school.
mm. Tales of the Unexpected.
No, cliffhangers.
Cliffhangers. Oh well, cliffhangers.
They'd be
Best.
like, I'd be like, "Did you watch it last night?" And we would talk all about it. She was really into it.
I was the only kid in my school that watched it, and it was really upsetting. I tried to get other kids to watch it because I was like, it was everything to me because it was okay. Like one story is vampires, and the other one is cowboys and aliens mixed together. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a remake of an old serial. And the other
Yeah.
one, the spy-ish kind of one. I'm like, yeah,
Stop Susan Anton.
yeah,
Susan Williams, I think her was her
yeah,
name.
it's fine. But like, the idea that like the thing that people didn't like that it started, halfway through the stories. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And it,
It
and it was a
doesn't
cool
matter if
idea.
you've seen the first one.
And I always thought it was a cool idea where it was like a story engine where they could do if a series did well, they could do a whole new, I mean, they could just do its own story of that. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out.
The Dracula one was my favorite, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one was really heavy because there was a girl in it and her mother was dead. And she had mourned the death of her mother. And then later she realizes her mother is still alive as a vampire, which really kind of upset me as a kid. I was like, oh my God, how horrible would that be? Like, your mother's dead, then she's alive, but now she's a vampire. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now, huh?
What can I do now?
Like Helena Marcus.
Yeah.
Your mother's a vampire. Oh, what you can do now, huh?
But yeah, I get excited about this, and the nice thing too, like watching and reviewing, is like, oh, it's just like a very finite, 45 minutes. I guess I could always do that Gary Collins, The Sixth Sense, is to
Yeah.
finish out the Night Gallery stuff. But that feels kind of maybe a little painful.
Miss Crawford, do you believe in ESP? I don't know, Gary. But I once had an experience where I had a dream about my poodle who is very dear to me. And she fell down a free-flying staircase in my fabulous New York apartment that my husband Al Steele paid for. So for me, definitely, it's real.
I felt so bad for Al Steele in the movie, whatever. He just like is exasperated. He's like, we just stopped building this apartment. Because he loved her so much. Like he's one of the few positive characters in that movie, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and then he gives Christina money when she won't. That's what made him really sympathetic.
Exactly. Like he really comes across in that movie as like he's just like in love with a woman who's very hard to be in love with. But he loves her.
You're building this fucking apartment. You can't give your daughter whatever money she needs to get by, like to go buy some groceries and pay her rent.
Yeah, and he's just so sweet. And then I'm sure every other guy there is like, why is he just giving her everything? And he's like, the heart.
She was Joan Crawford. Of course, he gave her everything.
He's like, I fucking hit the jackpot. Like she's gonna have my drink in every movie. Of course.
Did you ever see the episode of the talk show that she did? I think it was like it wasn't John Davidson, but it was someone similar. Like, and it wasn't Dick Cavett either. But she was wearing like this purple. You know that outfit in the movie she wears when the producer comes to see her, Belinda Rosemary. She's like, it was an ovarian tumor, but completely benign, thank God. She's wearing like this purple turban, and she had that outfit on in this interview. And she's like, Al Steele and I had 4 years together, but they were happy years. And it was more than many years other people I know had together that were happy. she got all deep on the talk
Oh,
show about
but
it.
that's cool though. I mean, I think that was a positive relationship in her life versus a lot of these other ones. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no, it's good,
seriously.
man. Yeah, yeah. That makes me happy. I like when people are happy. I don't know. I'm a softie when it comes to 3 in the morning talking about junk coffee. Right?
Oh, it is 3 in the morning.
It
Wow.
is 3 in the morning. Yeah,
There's more people than ever. Now we have 24 viewers.
that's amazing. Thank you so much, everybody that's out here and watching this. Man, um, glad to talk TV stuff with people. Uh, The Phoenix is another show. I see Vince brought that up. So this is the curse of my family. Is like we would get really into a show, and when you're young, you're like, oh, it's only lasting one season. Like yeah, and as a kid, I was like, well, what happens now? Like I got really invested in this show, and it lasted 8 episodes or 6 episodes. You know, there's one episode of I think it's Monsters, the one with Darren McGavin in it, or Tales from the Dark Side, where there's a whole alien planet that he only did a show and it got canceled and he never got through the last episode. So the aliens come and produce the last episode so he can give them closure, which is really cool. But we didn't get that with the shows that I watched. I also would fall for, CBS late night movies or NBC summer late night movies where they were like burned off pilots, and it was like, oh, this is all you get is this this pilot. And then I'd be
Oh
like, man,
yeah.
that show could have been great. Like, or shows that lasted a really short time, like Salvage One is another one.
Salvage One. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that played on the CBS late a lot too. And I loved that show. I thought that was a really cool idea for a show. But yeah, it didn't
Was it?
last that long.
No, Black Christmas was on NBC.
Yeah.
That was like a Sunday night late movie. Although it was originally going to be earlier, but the Ted Bundy attacks at Florida State University made people protest NBC running it because they still hadn't caught him yet.
That
There was,
CBS, I mean NBC late Sunday movies that were on, like in the summer, that was another source of joy for me because like the Flash Gordon cartoon was on that, and I definitely remember watching the last remake of BoJust on that. That and 53 used to play really late night movies too. So I remember watching Three Musketeers movies on that, and Zora the Gay Blade I watched too. Because I remember they would air the Penthouse TV ads during that time block, and my mom would jump in front of the TV. Good.
you can't
None of
stop
this.
it, Mom.
I can't. You know, this is what the kids want. I'm 5. I don't even know what this Penthouse is. But oh, what magical times.
That was really great. I think that's something that's totally lost now.
Hmm.
Is the well, for one thing, being required to stay up late to watch
Hmm.
something on free TV, like that entire concept is so outdated. But it really was, you had to stay up late to watch the weird shit because
Yeah,
they would put that on late at night, and I don't even know why. Like, who were they programming this for? Um, my mom once told me, she's like, "Well, that's for people that work late shift and they come
yeah.
home and they need something to watch." I'm like, "They want to watch this? I Married a Monster from Outer Space."
My grandfather would watch war movies when he would come home,
Yeah.
and it was so loud. He'd get home at 4 in the morning and just crank it. But I remember he'd wake me up because in '78 and '79, Channel 4 played TE played Flash Gordon at 4:05 in the morning on Sunday mornings. That's right when he got home from the mill, and he'd come wake me up, and he'd be like, "Hey, come on, Flash Gordon's on," and I'd watch it with him, and then go back to sleep. That's like a great
Wow.
memory. Yeah,
What
it
a
was just
memory.
yeah. David asked about Lucan being a series. It was a full series, a 1 year series. And what's funny is there was a guy that died, and he gave like $1.5 million to the star of Lucan because he loved the show so much. So yeah, pretty
Is
wild.
that the same guy that gave all the money to you mean when he was in Hell Knight?
Yeah, he gave it to him and then one other person too.
There
I
was
can't remember.
Vincent Van Patten.
Yeah, he gave it to those two guys. Yeah, yeah.
You don't know what sordid things go on in people's private lives, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing too about the late night kind of shows too, were just like CB from doing research on CBS late movie, um, the stations themselves were running movies, like the independent stations or, the stations across the US were running them. And at the 68 or 66 convention of all the CBS stations, they asked the heads of CBS to come up with a late night program because they were getting killed in the ratings by Carson. So they did Merv Griffin because Merv Griffin was on during the day syndicated, and his ratings didn't translate to late night. So he was on until 70 or 71, and then they got a deal with they got a deal with MGM to get like a ton of movies, like 100 movies, like in the same way that the Nightmare Theater packages and stuff got bought.
Yeah.
And they had all these first run movies. So then they said, "Well, we'll start playing them." For the first 6 months, the CBS late movie was on. It did better ratings than Carson. So and they actually were super competitive with him throughout the run. That's why like Kolchak and McLeod and those shows did really well airing at those times too. And then they just kept changing stuff up and just trying different stuff. And that was like either a place to burn off TV movies or show new stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that like the Monkeys movie had premiere. The TV premieres on the CBS late movie. Same as Bird
I
with the
think
Crystal Plumage.
Phantasm also,
Phantasm.
I
Yep.
think was one that debuted on the CBS late movie.
Yeah. It's really wild how much stuff played there. And then, there were Canadian series and Australian series and just even like Newhart and like sitcoms played on it near the end of the run. But I definitely watched McMillan and Wife and McLeod on it, in addition to all the horror movies too. But they if you look at the letterbox list I made for it, it's pretty there's like 1,700 movies in it. It's pretty amazing the variety of things that played on it.
But anyway, my point was that it was just sort of it was interesting to be locked into that. Like you
Hmm.
couldn't just choose whatever you wanted. You had to watch whatever they were showing, and it showed you some interesting things, that maybe you
And I know
wouldn't
you
want.
were like me too, where you pre-planned this. Do
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. You were like, okay, I have to make sure everybody's in bed by 10:30 so that I can get up again and go downstairs in time for 11:30 when the movie starts.
One of the best things that ever happened is my brother and I got a little tiny TV that was about this big, like one of those ones like this, and like
Yes,
80 or 81, and that changed everything because
me
I was like,
too.
yeah,
My
because then it
grandpa
was
gave
like,
me one. It was like a little 9-inch black and white
yeah,
TV. It was amazing.
and it had a headphone jack too, which was
Yes.
amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then I was like, I never slept after that as a kid because I'm like, I'm just gonna find stuff to watch,
Yeah, I can
and
remember watching Deborah Harry, Blondie, sing Heart of Glass on like the midnight special on that TV, and
oh
Ghost House was on next. Good
yeah,
times.
it was like the ability to, but still, even like what was in TV Guide, there was a chance that it didn't air. You know what I mean? And you would see something completely different, or like there'd be a show that
Yeah.
would just show up and you'd have no idea what was coming. That's kind of
Sometimes
what
they changed it up. Yeah.
that's kind of what I like about what we do with the show, because it's kind of like we're watching what we pick, and hopefully it's like the same kind of thing.
Mike Justice, this is a strange proclamation that you made tonight. I demand an explanation.
Yeah. The other thing too, Billy, we mentioned it before, is like a lot of houses you had one TV. So like there was a lot of negotiating of what you were going to watch,
Yeah.
and like what the family, like what fit into what the family liked, and that was it. Like
It was only maybe like mid 80s when you started to have another TV in the house.
yeah.
I think by the late 80s, I had a small TV in my room with cable though.
Mm.
So I could watch cable in my bedroom. So then
Oh.
I never left.
Well, we still had in Elwood City, we still only had the dial cable, like like the box,
Yeah.
like and like and it only got like 14 channels
That
above
was
and
what I
below.
had too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have like it was up until they didn't get pay-per-view in Elwood until, and like all those channels until the 2010s, I think.
There was no
Cable.
box. Like
Yeah,
we didn't have a box. It was just
exactly.
a cable that plugged into your TV, and then you got 14 channels, and that's it.
Yeah. And it was you were a rich kid if you had HBO or, we would plan out when HBO did the free weekend. That was a big deal because you just watched a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, they showed. Oh, I forgot about the free weekends. Yeah,
Yeah.
they would dig out stuff that they had showed a couple of months ago. So sometimes you got to see good shit again.
Yeah. And it was very much like, hey, this is the kind of quality you'll be seeing on HBO. I remember just begging my dad, I'm like, can we please get HBO? And like for a while we'd get it, and then he's like, "Yeah, you kids really aren't watching it anymore." And I was like, "Dad, I'm watching it all the time. You know what I mean? Like I need to get it." He's like, and then the thing was like, "Well, can we just get like we would get stuff? You would get the stuff in the mail. And be like, it's only $11 for HBO and Cinemax. Dad, come on."
Did you
And we
get the
did.
box?
We got the box, yeah.
Because there
But
was a little switch on top of it, and if you were a paranoid parent, you could get one that locked. There was a parental lock, like a physical key that would lock the HBO box, and you couldn't switch the channel over to the HBO.
we had the
Why?
thing too. If you turned between channel 3 and 4, it's very American Pie, right? But
Yeah,
like if you tuned it, you could just get the picture.
you could
You know
just
what I
make
mean?
out the outline of the Playboy channel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we had Cinemax, and it was about as good as it got, right? For Max After Dark.
Jim Drummond did watch wacky movies at my house. I went to your house once too. I went over to your house one time, Jim Drummond, to watch The House That Screamed. It was
Mhm.
on TV. Don't you love The House That Screams, Sam?
Yes, I do.
I called Jim Drummond's house to see what he was doing, and his mom answered, and she was always really funny on the phone. She was like, "He's watching The House That Screamed. Hang on." And she was like, "Jim, come get the phone before the house starts screaming." And boy, I wasn't prepared. I went over and I wasn't prepared for what The House That Screamed was.
I just got the Era Blu-ray of it.
I got the Scream Factory, and that's where I stopped. Do you
Yeah,
like the
the
Arrow?
the Era one's really nice. Yeah, I love that movie. It's kind of it's kind of like Pieces. That movie.
Yeah, it
It's got
is.
it's got kind of like you can see Pieces like the junkie version of it, but a lovable one. Also, Pieces is in the Clones of Bruce Lee movie 'cause they explain why Bruce Lee is in Pieces.
Bruce Lee.
They actually asked him about it. He's like, "I don't know what I was saying. Why I was saying." What's he say? He's like, "My stomach hurt. Too much chop suey. Okay, gotta go. Bye."
It's like he attacked her with kung fu because he got bad food.
Yeah,
What did
yeah.
she ever do to him? And then I love that how he attacks her, and a minute later they're laughing about it, and they're like, "Okay, have a good night." Just like what happened in real life.
The movie's awesome. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything, right? I like watching it for the first time with people that aren't ready for it. You know what I mean? They're like,
How
"This
could you
movie,
be ready for
you can't be ready
pieces?
for it. You can't be ready."
It's exactly what you think it is.
It really is. I have the long sleeve, and it says down the arm, "You don't have to go to Texas for a Chainsaw Massacre," which is another great tagline. So yeah, but anyway, when that Enter the Clones of Bruce comes out, there's gonna be a box set with it too. So probably buy that. I bought a lot of not a lot of stuff. I only got 3 movies at the Vinegar Syndrome sale this week, Bill. So I did okay.
Oh my God, I can't buy any, and it's driving me crazy.
I
I
bought
just can't.
there's a Jess Franco double set, and I had a really old copy of Red Lips and Kiss Me Monster, like a really bad DVD. It
Mm-hmm.
was like barely looking good, and that box set looked so good, and I'm like, it was $12, and I was like, "Fuck it."
Kiss Me Monster.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not made of stone. I gotta get that. So, and then what else? I got Summer of '84 because Becca wanted that, and I can't remember the other two. It doesn't matter. They'll be in next week, hopefully.
We were talking about that, Argo. That's like when you
Yeah,
would turn between the channels, and sometimes you could get something actually scandalous that would come through that you weren't paying for.
yeah.
You want it, you got to pay for it, buddy.
I gotta tell you, I did see Emmanuel in America on Cinemax as a kid, and I was ill prepared for it. I'm like, oh, this will be sexy. I was like, this movie is out to hurt me. And I was like, man, I just didn't get it. Now I love it. So,
This fantastic event is happening at Rock Bar in New York City
I'm so
on
jealous we
Wednesday.
can't go to this. I would have loved to go to this.
Mm-hmm. No one could stump you at horror trivia, Sam Panic.
Oh, they totally could. There's a lot I don't know.
I doubt it.
The pressure would be on, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, what if I miss a question about George Eastman or something?
I know that would be really embarrassing. I'm terrible
Yeah.
under pressure like that. I can't think of things.
Yeah, I would be like, oh no, what if? Though they did that bad movie Bingo that is always that does Bottle Rocket in a few places. They did Spookies, and they asked Spookies trivia, and they were like, after like the first 10, they're like, all right, we're just giving you the prize. Like somebody else, you're not allowed to answer any more questions. I'm like, it's Spookies.
Jim Drummond, this comment warms my heart. We did watch a lot of Super 8 millimeter movies, but unfortunately, I didn't have a big library, but that's okay. We watched the same ones over and over again. Squirm, the digest Super 8 version of Star Wars,
I have that. Yeah.
the War of the Colossal Beast, The Return of Dracula. Those first two were in color and they were sound, but most of them were black and white and silent with only subtitles. There was
The
this
Star Wars is great. It's great. How many times I've watched it so many times.
Yeah, it opens with him giving his explanation about Ben Kenobi telling Luke about he betrayed and murdered your father. And then it's mostly just the shootout in space and a couple other things, and then boom, it's over.
It's a little like a quick run through the cantina, like a turn of everybody in the cantina.
Yeah.
I love that some of the new Arrow stuff has some of the Super 8 stuff on it, digest versions of films. Like, I wish more movies did that. I would buy a whole Blu-ray of just those, you know?
I love when they add it as a bonus on a Blu-ray set. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
I think that's really fun. So go to this event if you're in New York City. It's at Rock Bar on Wednesday. Coma White, Justin Lockwood, your two hosts, putting on a fabulous show. You're going to have a good time, and we are envious and wish that we could go too.
And don't forget, September 29th, Replicator is available to purchase. It has Bill and I on commentary.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
It is on the MVD site, mvdshop.com, to purchase now. And if you look through the credits and the features, our names are on it. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
They're so nice to us.
They are really nice to us. And you get glasses so you can see the Replicator. You get a poster, and Bill, you'll be excited to know stickers are back. There'll be a new set of stickers, video store stickers that come with every Blu-ray.
The Suburban Sasquatch had stickers you could put on that looked like it was an old video rental.
Yep.
Which I love.
More of those. There's a lot more coming too, and potentially a couple that 2 movies that I found, but can't talk about them yet. But we're working on those now, and that'd be super exciting.
Don't start with the stuff we can't talk about.
Oh, I know. There's another big thing we can't talk about.
It's driving me crazy. Yeah, we can't talk about the really big thing that just recently happened. But
yeah, that's what drives me nuts. Like I said to Rob, like, put out the other ones that we did, so
please, so we can finally admit to something else that we had a part in.
That's why I was so excited that Replicator was out. Like, oh, and also the Abomination too, which is like I think a must-have for people's collections. Is like it's one of my, it's probably my favorite shot on video horror movie, and actually one of my favorite movies. I said on Twitter, it's kind of like my Star Wars, getting a great looking copy of the Abomination.
Yeah,
on Blu-ray. And there's
whoever thought that was going to happen.
Yeah, and man, it has like 2 commentary tracks on it. It has an hour and a half documentary about how it was made and interviews. There's so much stuff on it. I think there's like 8 hours of extras on it. And a comic book. It comes with a 16-page comic book about the movie, which is pretty rad. So really, it is not just because we work on it, but even if we didn't. Like the Visual Vengeance stuff is like getting Criterion Collection level quality for movies that were shot on home camcorders, which is an awesome thing.
Oh, I know. It's amazing that this is even happening. So
Yeah.
it's a thrill to be a part of it.
We can definitely say we didn't work on it, but Scream Queen is another one because they showed it at Nighthawk Theater. It's a Blas Linnea Quigley one. I know that one's definitely coming out. And there's one other one that they announced. But you can get like obviously there's a ton of other ones. Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder from Hell, aka the Japanese Evil Dead, is out from them, which is really good.
I thought we were working
LAH,
on Scream Queen.
we were at one point, but I don't know now.
This is the first I've heard that we're not working on Scream Queen.
Well, I don't know if we are or not, but I know that we can say that that's one of their movies because if they aired it in a theater, then we can talk about it. That's the rules of it. So
I'll be sad if we're not working on Scream Queen.
I really want one to, and I'm going to remind him. It's like that was the one where that movie never even came out. It's a Linnea Quigley unreleased movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, no one's ever seen it other than if they screened it somewhere. It's not on home video.
Yeah. So pretty exciting. Anyway, I'm not gonna say anything else because at this point I'll just be like, oh, you
know. There are 28 people now in chat.
Okay, I guess we're gonna have to stay awake then, right?
28 people. We've been on for an hour and a half, and there are more people now than when we started.
That's like more than we used to do the show at 8 at night. We'd have like 8 people.
Yeah, I can remember those days. Yeah, there weren't that many people that knew about us.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, thanks, good people that are out there. That's awesome.
Yeah, and hello to all you lurkers too. Yeah. I love meeting the lurkers. And a couple lurkers came up to us at the drive-in. They're like, "Hey, I watch your show," and I didn't recognize their names at all. And they're like, "Oh, I never comment. I watch it on YouTube."
Yeah, well, say hi if you're new. Will be nice, right?
You don't have to say hi. You can lurk.
Okay.
Lurk away. But yeah, always if you see us in public, come up and talk to us.
Just not when we're peeing. That was weird. Someone came over. I was like, yeah. So I was peeing. Someone was like, "Hey, I really like the show," and I was like, "Cool."
Come pee next to me. I don't care.
I wasn't upset. I mean, it didn't.
Some of us have an attitude about it.
No. I used to be pee shy, and then I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Now I got to do multiplication tables in my head again so that I can pee.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I can do it after. In the bathroom, I don't mind talking, but, you know.
I don't like to hang out in the bathroom. It usually doesn't smell very good in there. You know.
No, that's the other reason. It's kind of hard to talk, and
you know what? I mean, I love the Riverside, but the bathroom isn't exactly spotless.
I mean, I'm gonna do a Kickstarter for that bathroom. Clean up the bathroom.
Rescue the bathroom.
Rescue the Riverside bathroom.
It's even worse on the second day. It's worse on Saturday because people that stayed overnight can shower in there.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Inside that bathroom.
Inside that bathroom, there's a shower set up so you can go in there. Presumably, you know, you're still wearing your shorts. Like I never understood that. Like the shower in your clothes.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
There were guys at the gym that used to do that.
Really?
Yeah. I would be like, what the fuck? Everyone in here is naked, dude. You can't come in here naked.
Doesn't make sense. There's a lot of dudes in wrestling that would do that, and then the other trick is like they would never take off their towel. Like, they would change with a towel over them. I'm just like,
yeah,
just change.
That makes me paranoid too. I'm like, whoa, what do you?
Either you're packing or you're not packing. You know what I mean?
Whatever, though. You know, you're cool. Go ahead and change under your towel.
I don't know. I drive Becca nuts because I'm so used to from being in wrestling, of just changing anywhere. Like once we get out of the pool.
That was really awkward for me. I have to admit, the first time, like, because I had been to the gym before, and been naked in the locker room. But like then one year we got a special gym membership through this company that I worked for, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, because this gym was like pretty elite, but we got it for a cheap deduction from our paycheck because our owner owned the gym. So I went there for the first time, and like I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to be naked in front of people I work with. That was a little bit intimidating.
I mean, I'm just maybe used to it from years of wrestling. Where it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Eventually, you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. The one time we were in Uniontown Wrestling and Hacksaw Jim Duggan was on the show, and he accidentally walked into me ass first, and he got really upset. He was like, "I'm really sorry. I was really sorry." And I said, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you, I broke into wrestling just so I could see your balls. So I feel like I've I've achieved my dream." And he like pulled back like he was gonna punch me, and then he just started laughing like a maniac. He's like, "That's the funniest shit ever." He goes, "I'm gonna use that all the time now."
I'm hoping that was true.
Yes, 100%. That's why I got
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
So what about next week? NP Armageddon.
Yeah, if you
What
guys
about
haven't
those
listened to
guys?
their podcast, it's really fun. It's literally like a radio show in a city called Los Angeles. It's after the end of the world, and like Fred Willard was a voice on their show. Harlan Ellison. They've had some really big names,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, and they just bought their first billboard in downtown LA to advertise the show, so people will listen to it. But it's a really like really high quality production values. And yeah, so Robo Jocks is first, and that's a movie about in the it's like roller. It's like what do you call it? What's the James Caan movie?
Rollerball.
Rollerball. Yeah, it's the same idea. It's like these robots are how all conflicts are solved between two people fighting in robots. It's also a lot like Pacific Rim, the way the robots are controlled. Um, it's pretty cool. It's got great special effects, stop motion effects, and then the Warriors of the Wasteland is other than Endgame, which we watched, I think year and a half ago. It's my second favorite man post-apocalyptic movie. It's got Bob obviously is in it as a mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
In
got
case you didn't notice, there he was in the trailer video.
Michael Sopacal's in it as Parsifal. George Eastman has an entire army of anti-religious gay bikers that like to kill and rape people, and man, it's real good. Fred Williamson is in it. Literally, he wasn't even planned to be in it, and decided to just hang out in Italy for longer. And he's like, "Well, I need work if I'm here." So like, "Well, you can be in this." And it's a big movie. It's got some really wild concepts in it. There's a girl named Princess in it. There's just so much that happens in it,
It's a
and
big movie.
it's good. It's like a lot of like a lot of cars with knives on them that stab people. Like it really it goes for it. Like you're gonna like it. If you like Endgame, you're gonna really love it. George Eastman's wild in it. There's one part where he like gets on a microphone and tells everybody that God's dead and he's gonna kill all of them. It's really amazing. His name's Zero in it. Yeah, yeah. There's see-through football gear as costumes. A lot of cod pieces. Yeah, it's
Like your new end of the world wife comes into your house, your shabby, bombed out house at the end of the
oh
day. You're like, what happened to you? And she's
yeah.
like, oh, some asshole drove by on the street with knives on his car and stabbed me.
There's literally
Like,
one of the cars that has a knife that folds out. Another one has like a weed whip, and they chase a guy till his head gets cut off.
by the way, I was rooting through the garbage. I brought home dinner.
But yeah, I'm excited to have the guys on. I'll have an interview with them up on the site hopefully this week too, talking about their podcast, so you can listen to that and get up to speed with them. But it'll be fun. And then we'll have Diane on after that doing something fun. And then prep now. You guys can make it out. I would definitely prep for this drive-in Super Monsterama in September because
Yeah,
we'll both definitely be there.
this is plenty of notice. Oh, we forgot to say happy birthday to
Yeah,
Roger
Roger.
Braden
Yeah,
of Valley Nightmares. I know that Roger's not watching now by now. I mean, I hope. But
yeah,
Roger, happy birthday to you. And also Adam Laborn, who
yeah.
watches the show sometimes. ATOM. That's all I know you as, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And so happy birthday to you. And it was recently Eldon Glenn's birthday. I can't
Oh,
remember if
happy
we said
birthday,
happy
Alden.
birthday on the show to
Oh,
Eldon. I'm Facebook friends with most people. If we're not Facebook friends, hit me up. And
yeah.
Sometimes I forget though, because I'll see it earlier in the week and forget to write it down.
Yeah, let us know if we're missing anything. Man. And next week I got to come up with robot drinks. Who knows what a robot drink will be?
If
That'll-
anybody could do it, it's you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Sam
excited.
Panico.
Don't forget, we also did Neon Brainiacs a couple weeks ago. We did the children for that, so check that episode out. And always listen to their show. Those guys do a really fun podcast. So that's one of my favorite podcasts.
Oh, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. I went back and I listened to the episode, and I thought we had a lot of fun on that show.
Yeah.
So,
And you have is your episode still up for Newcastle After Dark?
yes. This Newcastle After Dark episode is still up, and it's for Dark Places, featuring Christopher Lee, Joan Collins, etc., etc., etc. Oh, by the way, our Red Wolf Inn commentary got taken down.
We have a plan for that.
We're really bummed out about it, but some people claiming to own the copyright for Red Wolf Inn sent us a love letter via YouTube, and they were like, please. Well, it was just taken down when they didn't ask us please anything. So I did write to them, and I reminded them that please, I said, take a closer look at the video. There's no sound in it, there's no audio. It's used for commentary purposes only, and we'd appreciate it if you'd let us keep it up. If they decline, it'll just remain vanished, and we'll just re-upload it with no video, and you can just listen to the audio on it.
Yeah.
So, any other announcements that I forgot about?
Not that I can think of right now.
At 3:30 in the morning, right before we're ready to sign off.
I have to figure out what my next movie to watch is. That's what I'm going to do.
Sam, it's 3:30 in the morning. You're not going to go to bed?
How do you think all these movies get written? This is the time that Saturday to Sundays is when I write all of them.
That's true. I mean, this is a good time to watch movies when you're half asleep.
I got to tell you, there is no greater joy than putting a movie on, and it's not important whether or not you're awake or you know what I mean. You're like half awake. And you can drift in and out of them, and there's no pressure. If there is an afterlife, this is what I would hope that it would be. These moments like this when we're talking movies, just watching whatever we want. It's like the rest of my days are just working and drudgery. So this is very magical. I feel like the sadness when the show ends. I feel like the sadness when I would leave the Super 51 and would see you before too many moons. Every time I saw that sign as a kid, I would cry and I'd be like, "When are we coming back to Super 51?" And my mom said, "Well, we just left." And I'm like, "But when are we coming back?"
Yeah, you got that right, Vince. I don't know why they went on a rampage, but other people that had the movie published also got a takedown of it. So, maybe this is a good thing. It could mean that something's in the works.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody finally is going to put this movie out and give it the restoration that it deserves. Please reach out to Linda Gillen and get a commentary, because, we'd be really disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah. Reach out to us to do the.
Yes, please. In fact, we already recorded it. We'll just send it to you as an audio file, and you can put it on there. So, aren't we being nice to these people? I think we are.
We're trying. I'm trying to find the right color to end the show. Let me see. There we go. Match up a little bit here. That's better.
All right,
guys. Well, good night. We'll see you next week. Bill, thank you for everything that you do, as always.
Thank you, Sam, for being my faithful show partner and doing this every week. I don't know what I'd do without it now.
I tell you what, I do love doing the show. And thanks to all the people that were in the chat tonight. This is exciting.
Yeah, thanks to all you fine folks, fans of fantastic films, for hanging out with us and talking about some crazy shit until the wee hours in the morning. We love you. We'll be back next week. So be here. Bye. See you then.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.